Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. In his new avatar with a new name, we have Mr. Abhijit Iyer-Mitra. We are hoping that the Doron part of him will surface today as we look at some of the problems seizing Israel versus its conflict in Hamas. Will it go? Will it explode into other regions? All that stuff. Let's welcome Abhijit Iyer-Mitra. Namaskar, Abhijit ji. कैसे हैं आप?
Hello, how are you doing? Greetings from Israel. Very great to meet you.
Rabbi, it is with a heavy heart that I'm seeing Israel take a pounding. First they came out and said this one place where there were children who were decapitated, and now somehow Israel is walking it back, and I don't know the reason for that. But more importantly, I wanted to ask you, if what is your take on where things are going today? Certainly, the Leili is in full speed mode. And you saw INC change its stance from condemning Hamas to supporting Palestine. Somehow they think that the average Joe in India can appreciate the difference between the two. Over to you.
Look, this is, the less we talk about Rahul Gandhi and co, the better, because this guy thinks that, talking about India being a union of states is going to win in the election. So let's keep the INC aside for a second. Let's focus on what's happening in Israel. What I suspect is happening is I am not seeing a clear plan. Every time we go to Israel and do our debriefings with the military out there, we're always blown away by how, they think through everything, second order effects, third order effects, uh, you know, uh, 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 2 weeks down the line, 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line. The standard format is 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15. They don't do beyond 15 years. In very rare cases, the prime minister will order them to do a 30-year. 30-year is the maximum planning that they do. Now, I think a lot of what we're seeing today is run by anger. It's not so much um, a, a coherent tactical thinking or a coherent strategic thinking at the moment. I don't know what they're doing. A lot of people, a lot of Israelis that I know, also are, in private, they're worried that they don't know what they're doing. See, when you go into battle like this, you're all pumped up and you're hoo ha, and we're going to do great. They don't want this turning into another quagmire like Lebanon. You remember what happened with the Israeli occupation of Lebanon. Of course, Lebanon, if you go to the Israel-Lebanon border, you see it's extremely mountainous and terrain and things like that. In India, we've got this notion of huge mountains. There, it's more like, the Aravalis. They call it the Aravalis mountains out there. They've got tiny mountains out there. But still, it's difficult terrain. Gaza is absolutely flat. If you do Google Earth or satellite imagery on Gaza, you will see how flat it is. They probably don't have a single valley. I mean, when I was there, I didn't see a valley. At most, there was some undulation, and that's about it. So, what I think I worry sometimes they're getting very overconfident and they're not thinking things through, or they're getting very angry and not thinking things through. So, I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the plan is except anger.
One of the things that you expanded in some of your tweets, and it was a very good series of tweets that I read, that is the cost of taking on hundreds of rockets, $1,000 each, using the Iron Dome, which I think per instance is $90,000. Unpack that a little bit for us.
So, we've been seeing how, Hamas rockets have been getting more and more and more precise. And people don't realize that, guidance is very, very difficult. We think that just because we're able to do Google Maps on our phone and get to a destination, that it will anybody can do it. But understand everything that goes into that guidance. You're looking at the map, and you are driving at the same time, you're putting in very minute, careful adjustments to the steering wheel. You are clutching, braking, pedaling all at the same time in variations, and changing gears at the same time. All of these are elements of guidance. And to get it down to cost is extremely difficult. It is very, very difficult. Hamas has managed it. It's a very significant technological breakthrough. And these cost just $1,000 per rocket. The economics doesn't work out where, before it used to take about 400 rockets, and you were lucky if one rocket would land at a population center. There were more nuisance devices than they were killer devices. But what ends up happening now is, because of these small, small, small accretions in technology, you're you've gotten to a stage where I've seen at least three videos which look to me like Iron Dome batteries have run out. Iron Dome takes a very long time to manufacture. It's a very precision manufactured, difficult thing to do. And people think missiles just it comes out of a machine. No, there are different components which are then assembled by hand in a production line. It is very complex stuff. It's tough to make. If it was easy to make, anybody could have made it. So it's not adding up. I think the Israelis have been too lax for too long. And my issue is, Shri, we spoke about the Intel failures, the failure of the wall, and then the failure of the response that happened after the wall was breached. What I'm seeing is that information warfare is also failing very badly right now. I think this fiasco with the 40 babies and beheading and all of that, first they claim yes, then the IDF spokesperson says no, then another IDF spokesperson says yes, then another IDF spokesperson says, I don't know. None of the press people there have actually seen it. They claim everybody else saw it. Everybody claims to have photos. Now, these people are very happy sending me photos and videos of things that are much more gruesome. But they're not willing to send me photos of this. They're happy to send me pictures of dead babies, by the way. Why is it you're willing to send me pictures of dead babies in other kibbutzes, but not here? When it is seriously been called into question. I have had reliable sources in Israel just today give me at least three pieces of bad information. And I'm very skeptical, I don't put it up. I sit, think things through, look at things 6, 7 times. Of course, mistakes will happen. That's fine. But at least I put in the effort to try to prevent mistakes from happening. They are not. They should be the ones looking after information fidelity, and they are not. This 40 babies fiasco is going to cost them very, very heavily going down the line. I think there's an even bigger fiasco at hand, which is they put out this thing of I'm going to send Sachin the tweet. Maybe he can put up the videos.
Sure, sure,
uh,
sure, sure.
we can probably show our viewers what these two videos are, because see, there are two tweets out here. The first was of an image of a truck full of burnt bodies. Okay, and the problem with that burnt body tweet is that it is the sheer disrespect shown to those corpses is characteristically un-Israeli. Israelis take extreme caution with corpses. They have an extraordinary reverence for corpses. They will release hundreds of prisoners just to get the charred, rotting remains of a soldier back from Hamas or Hezbollah. That they would have just thrown these corpses onto the back of a truck, impossible to imagine. I don't know what that is, but that if that is Israel, these are not Israeli corpses. If you can play the first video, please, Sachin, and expand it. And you can see how much they respect their dead. Everywhere it gets covered. ये रुक क्यों गया? Play करते रहो. Everywhere they cover their dead.
True, true.
but they show complete disrespect for Hamas. See, Hamas is just, they cover, but there's no extraordinary care given to them. They're like, and see, they're using bulldozers to move those bodies. They will never ever use a bulldozer to move an Israeli body. Here, see, they're pissing on Hamas bodies.
Yeah. So you're right about saying that as Israelis are extremely angry, and anger can make you commit
No,
mistake.
I think we need to just finish playing that video because it's very important you see this. Now, how is it that these bodies are treated with so much disrespect where all the evidence is the Israelis treat their bodies with respect? If you go to that tweet, I mean, you can remove it, Sachin, thank you. You can remove the tweet. If you go check out the second video later, what happens is that there seems to be evidence that these five people surrendered and they were shot. It's possible evidence of a war crime. Okay, you can turn it off. You don't need to show them. They can go to my Twitter timeline and check it out. But this is a problem. You can't. You have mucked up everything else. You mucked up your intelligence. You mucked up your border defense. You mucked up your response. You mucked up your post response, and you're mucking up the information. You're mucking up the information so early in the war. Just 5 days into the war, you're mucking up information. Not a good idea, boss. I don't know who is thinking things through, but this is not good.
They need to regroup fast. We get that. Now, there's another reason for this. We are seeing the liberal ecosystem in India frothing. They are trying to take an Israel-Hamas conflict, a terrorist conflict, terrorist run or initiated conflict, into an Israel-Palestine issue. You take Ayn Akbar, Arfa Khanum, Rana Ayub, all these lumpens, loudmouths, they all are trying to take something and make it that something it is not. Uh, Abhijit, why isn't the right wing ecosystem effectively, taking them head on? Except for you, I don't see anybody else.
No, there's lots of people doing it on the right. I think
Okay,
there are.
I'm sorry, I'm
I
wrong.
think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the most eloquent people taking them on are in fact Muslims like Khalid Beg and Amna Ansari and Rubika Liaquat. Today, Rubika Liaquat, I was on a program at 6 p.m. She was on fire. She was giving it off dhadad. I've never seen anybody give it off to Hamas apologists the way Rubika Liaquat does. So uh, there are lots of people calling it out. The problem is the ones who are idolized and lionized by the Western liberal ecosystem and given all the money and the time are the ones who are the deniers. And they get disproportionate attention, which is sad, but it is what it is.
Last question. Do you think there is going to be a huge impact on crude pricing? And then once that happens, there will be indirect effect on all the things such as food grains. How do you think the United States, which is saying that we've got it covered, together with other nations, going to combat this?
I don't know. It's going to be exactly like Ukraine. They'll offer unstinting support in the beginning. If things go well, they'll all take credit for it. If things start going south, they'll all say, oh, we told you so, but we didn't want to tell you so at that point of time because we wanted to give you support. And then they'll find the next thing to move on to. Notice for the last 10 days, not 10 days, for the last 4 days since Saturday, nobody's been paying attention to Ukraine at all. And Zelensky, if you've noticed, he's actually been coming. He's come every day on some live stream or the other begging for money for the last since this attack started. He first tried conflating Ukraine with Israel, saying we should stand together. Then his supporters have brought in a joint bill that the release of funds for Israel automatically releases funds for Ukraine. That got shut down by the Israel lobby. And now the bugger is just begging for funds. I think people have just lost interest in Ukraine.
Uh,
And he realizes what's happened. I think he realizes what's happened. I think everybody is finding it quite convenient now to focus on Israel and to forget about Ukraine.
Thank you so much, Abhijit. And now let's take some questions. Sorry, viewers, to keep you waiting. We wanted to kind of cover the big picture first and then go on to questions. First question, please. Aditya B wants to know, have you read the book Land of the Elephant Kings? It says there was no urbanization in India before the Greeks invaded. Dionysus was the catalyst. Is this true?
No, I don't read crappy books like this, Aditya. Next.
Next one, please. Thank you so
And
much, GCKP.
boss, anybody who's seen Harappa, I mean, you've seen Harappan ruins, yo.
Yeah, yeah,
How much? So, it's like, why do you even ask me these, Aditya?
yeah. And there are multi-level houses they had built. It's not even like.
Yeah.
Thank you,
With
Maxim.
plumbing, with toilets.
With toilets and plumbing. Exactly.
Harappan
Maxim,
toilets were probably more advanced and cleaner than um, toilets we have today. Next. Yeah.
Maximilian wants to know. I think Shin Bet was aware of the Hamas plot all along, but they let it happen. Now, entire civilized world is strongly with IDF. IDF will enter Gaza in large numbers and finish Hamas forever. I don't see a question there. What do you think?
This is the conspiracy theory and hyperbole. Congratulations. I believe in
Next,
neither. I think it's going to be a lot tougher than you think, and I don't think Shin Bet was aware of it. And the person who'd really be responsible for this would be Aman, which is military intelligence. But anyway.
GCKP wants to know. Were there any anti-caste rebellion in ancient or medieval India?
Yes, there was. I think it was somewhere in Odisha or Bengal. It was the Palas. I think it was during the Pala period there was an anti-caste rebellion. It was the raising of taxes by the Palas that turned into an anti-caste rebellion. Yeah, he did. There was
One
a lot of
time,
caste
yeah.
language used. I've forgotten what the name, the I forget, but yeah, it was. Next.
Kanda Batata wants to know. Some US conservatives are unhappy for US giving aid to Israel and Israel killing Palestinian civilians. What is your take on that? Not US conservatives. I think it is the progressives. Go ahead.
I've not seen US conservatives crib about this, Kanda. Which conservative are you talking about? I've not seen this.
No, no.
No.
We have to
Next.
be more specific. Yeah, let's go to
You
the
have to
next
be more
question, please.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah, Malyaban Bhattacharya wants to know when was the last time US went to Defcon 2 or
I
3?
don't know.
Do you foresee anything? Okay, hold on. Do you foresee anything such given events in the Middle East and Ukraine?
No, I suspected. Look, the Ukrainian counteroffensive has fizzled out. It's a disaster. Had it succeeded, I genuinely believe that the longer this war goes on, the higher the chances of a Russian nuclear usage. If that happens, Naam ke vaste, they will go on to DEFCON 2 and 3. They won't respond, at least not militarily, but they will go on DEFCON to signal deterrence. And that's about it. But I think now that this has happened, as it is, we were seeing Ukraine fatigue set in, more to do with the corruption and incompetence of Zelensky and his administration. Now, with Israel taking over, I do see the threat of that somewhat receding, but it's still going to be a very long, painful war because they're not going to abandon Ukraine. Uh, they continued with Afghanistan for 20 years. They'll continue with Ukraine for at least 3-4 years minimum, if not longer.
One request to all our viewers, just ask one question per, because it's not fair for others who've also put in their question. If one person asks 4 questions in one particular comment, please ask one question per comment. Next one, please.
And wait, 1 second. There's a second part to that question. Because, this whole thing, precisely because of what I just said, I suspect you'll see a great big atrocity in Ukraine. You'll see 400-500 civilians or 1,000 civilians or 2,000 civilians get killed, precisely to drag attention back to Ukraine. Uh, I hope I don't. I hope I'm wrong, but I fear, given how the Ukro-Nazis are, I think we will see just that out of desperation. Next.
Next question, please. Mr. Lee wants to know, Varendra rebellion was not a caste rebellion. It was an uprising by some feudal lords or samantas against an additional tax by King Mahipala.
That's what I said. It was about taxes, but it took on a very clear caste angle.
Next question, please. Abhishek wants to know, sir, what's your views on Kamalnath? And according to you, why all the vote getters? Let's go with one at a time. Kamalnath.
He's ruthless, he's very competent, and he's very corrupt.
According to you, why all the vote getters, Congress leaders like Gehlot, Shivkumar, Bhupesh tend to be pro-Hindu, but liberal cabal tends to be anti-Hindu?
Well, that's the point. I mean, you're kind of explaining the thing, no? If you, when Stephen Harper came and spoke at the Raisina dialogue, he said, you can't call people idiots and expect them to vote for you. These people don't get votes because they keep calling Hindus bigoted, rabid, communal, this, that, every single day. Whereas the ones who actually get the votes will never say that. They'll talk about secularism esoterically, but they'll never say, "Oh, मैंने Sonia Gandhi को आज रोते हुए देखा," or Patla House was a complete fraud, or things like that. When Digvijay Singh was a vote getter and chief minister, he never used to talk like this. He only started talking like this after he got neutralized and marginalized in Madhya Pradesh. So you've kind of explained the phenomenon yourself, Abhishek.
Next question, please. Mr. Lee again. Germany bought Arrow 3 despite French asking to jointly develop an EU missile defense. Arrow 3 could have been deployed in UAE versus Kinzhal. Do you suspect Russian connections to Hamas attack?
I do suspect a lot of Russian connection to the Hamas attack. Sophistication for one, motive. One thing that isn't being discussed is that more than Iran, Hamas has been making a lot of pro-Russia noises in the last few days. Why is that? There is, I suspect, a Russian angle to it more than an Iranian angle, but my primary suspicion falls on Doha and Qatar.
Next one, please. Ishan Khosla wants to know, seeing the amount of polarization, do you think there could be a civil war-like conflict between Muslims and Hindus?
Not a full-blown civil war, but a lot of small wars. Not wars, civil conflicts. Urban conflict, yes. Occasional rioting.
Next question from Revant Reddy. As a Brahmin woman, how did Jayalalitha fight against the DMK nexus in terms of safeguarding Hindus? And how was the economy under her?
The economy didn't improve under her. Tamil Nadu's economy is overly reliant on alcohol sales. 25% of, is it 25 or 33%? It's some obscene
25%. Yeah, big number. Yeah.
Huge numbers come from alcohol. Right. So, and it didn't improve under her. I mean, they all used to keep saying this, that, whatever. They're both equally good or equally bad. Though Jayalalitha became, the first term was bad. The second, third, fourth term were decent. The DMK generally used to be decent, but this term they've been particularly nasty. Because remember, they expected 5 years, but they've been out of power now for
10 years.
10 years. And they have to recoup money for the next, because they feel they're going to be out of power. So they've gone particularly rapine. So that is a problem. And how did she find the DMK nexus in terms of safeguarding Hindus? Look, first she was a devout Hindu and she used to openly display it. Then she's done things like bring in the anti-conversion law and things like that, which she got rid of, by the way, after she lost, I think, the Narasimha Rao general election, the MP election, not the state election. She got rid of the law. She blamed the anti-conversion law for losing the election and got rid of it. But she used to keep doing these pro-Hindu things every now and then. Of course, she did nasty things as well, like throwing the Jayendra Saraswati in jail, the Kanchi Shankaracharya in jail.
Shivang Bharadwaj, thank you so much. What is your opinion on Caesar Augustus as a ruler and politician, and also his adopted father, Julius Caesar?
Adoptive father. Adopted is son. Adoptive is father. Sorry for the grammar. But anyway. Psycho. uh, very capricious, very calculating, very, very, very capable. There's a saying about Augustus, on his deathbed, he says, I found Rome a city of bricks and I left Rome a city of marble. And that's actually true. You look at the revenue and financing figures, the budgets went through the roof, the revenues went through the roof. He was also very corrupt. Remember, he ruled Egypt as a personal colony. Egypt was the wealthiest province of Rome, all extractive, but it did not go into Roman state coffers. It went into the Julian family, specifically Caesar Augustus's personal revenue. He was ruthless. He had many affairs, but he used to put on, he was what you call a dhongi in Hindi. Okay, say something in public and do something in private. The thing was, he was very good at it. Being a dhongi, being a hypocrite is also an art. People should be able to see your hypocrisy. He was very good at that. Caesar, not a very good administrator, good general, but not a good administrator. We don't really, very good at winning votes, but you tell me one great administrative achievement. So, there's a saying, Caesar built the empire, but Augustus stabilized and consolidated it, which is why when the when the Roman Empire is split into Eastern and Western Roman empires, the emperor is called Augustus, and the deputy emperor is called Caesar.
Next one, please. Anshuman Singh wants to know, is Saudi and UAE versus Qatar and Iran in the Middle East? What's the tipping point for Qatar? How much will West tolerate of them?
Bro, look, the West tolerated Pakistan for 20 long years, even when it lost 3,000 people on 26/11 and another 3,000 soldiers on the ground in Afghanistan. Why do you think they are going to turn on Qatar? Qatar clearly suits some kind of game that they're playing, right? So I don't think there is a tipping point for Qatar as we see it.
Isn't Qatar order, that is police force, run by United States? More or less everybody from the United States? No?
Local.
Okay. Next one, please. Ishan Sharma wants to know, Abhijit, do you think Natwarlal is going to jail anytime soon now, considering his number 3 is arrested in the liquor scam? And let's take one question at a time.
Who's Natwarlal?
Arvind Kejriwal.
Oh, that's his name, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of rumors that the BJPs decide to have him arrested. That's what I'm hearing. But look, it's just Delhi gossip circle. This isn't from reliable people. I have a set of reliable people, and then I have a set of gossip circuit, which can, which is sometimes 50% right, 50% wrong. So the gossip circuit says he's going to be arrested before the election, a few months before the election, because
hey, listen, some of your tweets are very, very, very clear, as clear as mud. For example, if I have to, use a phrase, a something a day keeps something away. Some of your tweets are like that. A certain unemployed, everybody's unemployed journalist, and then you say something and leave it. Come on, man, don't yada over the best part.
The anonymous Delhi media gossip tweets are the most accurate. Because they almost always come with documentary or photographic evidence,
which you don't put in your tweets.
That's the point. That's the point, because people should know. Everybody who needs to know knows, gets to know from reading that tweet. And for the rest, you're meant to keep guessing.
Not me. I'm halfway across the world and I'm dying to know.
No electronic communications on that.
All right. Well, let's go to the next question. Shivang Bharadwaj,
I want you to notice every time I put out those tweets, there are about 15, 20 of them so far. They're 100% accurate, by the way. They're probably my most accurate tweets. But even though it's called gossip, it's actually Delhi media fact. Um, Notice I never get sued for defamation.
No, you're not naming anything. You're not even
No,
naming
that
the
isn't
sun.
it.
You're
That isn't
not
it,
naming
because
the daughter.
a
You're
lot
not
of the
naming the
replies,
apple.
get it correct. One time some idiot sent me a defamation notice. Uh, I sent him back photographic evidence, and I said, "You will apologize publicly, or all of this goes up on Twitter." He deactivated his account. So, I don't put out information because I don't think you should information like that, not photographs and documents at any rate. But it's important that people see the hypocrisy that goes on in Delhi. The reason I don't want you to know the names is I want you to focus on how corrupt and incestuous and dirty Delhi is. Because then it becomes, if I give you the names, it becomes about people. It doesn't become about the issue at hand. So, for
All right.
example, the
Hmm.
latest tweet was about a certain journalist. Notice use the word gender indeterminate, uh, who has a Hindu name but is married to a Muslim, and converted during their marriage. And this person was caught in a compromising position with somebody not their spouse. The issue here is one of hiding your reality, pretending to be something that you're not, giving great big lectures on misogyny and feminism and all of that, and then dropping your lower garments at.
Doing a Clinton. Why don't you say something easy? Doing a Clinton.
But see, that would imply gender.
Well, that's what he did, though.
How do you know it's a he?
Well, I don't know. I think you said that he married a woman who was a Muslim, isn't it? And converted.
No, no. I never
All
said.
right,
I never
guys.
mentioned you.
You're as clear as mud. Let's go to the questions. Let's go to the question. Shivang Bharadwaj, thank you so much. What is the nature of the Western liberal ideology? It's not right wing, but it's not Marxist either. It seems like an elitist trap to preserve status quo.
It is completely Marxist, Shivang. It is quintessential Marxism. You find communities, you incite civil unrest, you make victims out of everybody, and you incite civil disaffection, which turns into revolution. It's classic Marxism. Because one stage of Marxism, nihilism, comes out of this kind of a belief. Anarchists are somewhat more sane, but nihilists, there's a spectrum. Marxists are people who believe that anarchism and nihilism should be encouraged, but can be controlled by them. But every revolution eats its own children. So it is, in fact, extremely Marxist. It is full blown communism.
Next question, please. Pikachu man, thank you so much. Miss Rabbi, are you a miss today?
I'm just rabbi.
Yeah, Rabbi, is it possible Taliban might have sold them US weapons? Or did they kidnap and bought Russian scientists?
I don't know. I don't want to speculate on this, but I suspect more Ukrainian weapons.
Hmm.
Because the tactics of how they took out all the border defenses were very much perfected in Ukraine. Using normal commercial drones like DJI and Parrot, those quadcopter drones. Next.
Next question, please. Augustus Hero, thank you so much. Is there any hope for the BJP in West Bengal?
Yeah. This election isn't going to be good, but the people in charge are actually working. They've learned some lessons, not all lessons. They've learned some lessons. They're working. Yes. Next.
Thank you, Rutvik. What do you make of Zeihans' claim Germany is going to collapse industrially and economically this decade make sense
Yes.
for India to buy up their company's technology?
You can't absorb their companies and technology. I've told you this 100 times before, Rutvik. If you give a beggar a Ferrari, he's going to destroy that Ferrari in a month flat. Not to mention sell it out and pawn it and things like that. A technology is suited to a market. The Indian market is uniquely suited to Korean and mostly Japanese technology, because they have very different approaches to technology. Korea is going the European way of quality, quality, quality. Uh, uh, Japan maintains reliability, reliability, reliability. So you'll see the technology threshold. You look at the latest flagship Kia Carens or Hyundai Tucson. We call it Tucson out here. I mean, in America, you call it Tucson, but the Hyundai Tucson, uh, um, it is extremely high in technology. Whereas you look at a similar priced Innova or, of course, Ertiga and all are not at that price. They're much cheaper. They are about reliability. They don't have that, cameras here, cameras there, this sensor, that sensor, wow, graphics and all that crap and things like that. So Japan does reliability. Korea is going the European way. I think it's a huge mistake. Uh, and Europe has gone the way of complete quality, which is very, very market sensitive.
Next
So,
one, please.
it is not suited to the market. It is not suited to our per capita income. It is not suited to our levels of training. We can't absorb it even if it's given to us. You look at how Tata has not been able to absorb. They tried. I genuinely believed that they may be able to. It was, in fact, the failure of Tata to reduce the price of JLR technology, make it reliable to suit an Indian market, and then start absorbing that technology into an Indian market that has made me skeptical. I know they were trying. They had a good plan. They didn't budget on the anthropological things surrounding it. To this day, JLR remains the most unreliable car in existence. It is the one car that is worse than a BMW in terms of reliability. You never know when it will stop.
Let me ask you a question. Tata owns Range Rover, right? They own
Yeah,
Range Rover in
JLR,
UK. What
Jaguar
is
Land
J?
Rover,
Oh, that is what is JLR. I see. I see.
JLR.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Next one, please. Thank you, Vignesh Prabhu. When is your Tam versus Kannada Brahm cook show with ANI?
I know. Good. Good. You reminded me. Yes, I need to talk to Smita Prakash about this. Thank you for reminding me. But we do intend to do it. We've got we've found the studio, the cooking studio that we want to do it in. So yeah, let's see.
Whoever is judging should have a good nasal sense of how things. Part of food eating is also the smell that comes out as you cook the food.
It's called neuro linguistic programming. Dim sum will never taste the same at home. It will be the same dim sum. It will never taste the same at home the way it will in a Chinese restaurant. And the main reason for that is the jasmine tea. Chinese restaurants have a very strong smell of jasmine tea. So what I do when I steam dumplings at home is to put a little pinch of jasmine tea in the steaming water, and then it tastes exactly like the restaurant, because it's you don't realize it, but the jasmine tea is actually a very heady scent. It affects the way you taste the dumpling.
Next one, please. Thank you, Shashank. Abhijit, I agree that caste bill formulated in Cali was wrong, but there are overt and covert casteist behavior with Indians there, which I face. Some of them were on yesterday's spaces. How do you suggest people like me deal with them?
Shashank, I think you should make videos about these things. Buy some kind of covert video shit and keep it with you. When you face them or talk to them, always record these things, because if you're facing it, Shashank, it is a problem. There should be zero tolerance for casteism, and I think you should record.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're
Name and
absolutely right.
shame. Hmm.
Yeah. Next one, please. Aviral, thank you so much. Aviral wants to know Hezbollah has broken through fence in North Israel.
Big deal. It's ongoing for
Next one.
3 days. No big deal. Next.
Thank you, Srinivas. Majority of Muslims seem to be happy about what Hamas had done, except UAE. No other Muslim country condemned Hamas. Prince Salman didn't condemn Hamas. He knows his subjects support Hamas. I think
No,
not saying also means that he's supporting UAE, isn't he?
no. So here's the thing. In the Arab world, there is a public stance and there is a private stance. You see the way the Qataris especially, the Kuwaitis and the Emiratis treat Palestinians, they treat them like dirt. In Lebanon, they're treated like absolute filth. They're seen as the root cause of all the problems. I think the only Arab country that has put in any effort into integrating Palestinians is Jordan. Hmm? After a while, after they turned docile, because you don't never forget in the 70s the Palestinians tried to take control of Jordan. They tried to overthrow and kill the king and his family and tried to take control. They were crushed brutally. And apparently, the Israeli Air Force went in very silently to help the Jordanian king, which is why he always maintained back channels and very good relations, covert good relations with the Israeli government for 40, 50, 60 years, I think. Mm, Now, there is public condemnation, which means nothing. Operationally, remember, intel and security cooperation is more addictive than heroin, opium, crystal meth. I don't know, I haven't tried all of those things, but I'm just going off what I've seen on TV. I can tell you access to intel um, is salivating. It's a very addictive thing. They are not going to jeopardize that intel and security cooperation they have over something happening out here. Remember, India also used to routinely condemn Israel, no, and vote against Israel. Did it affect our relations with the Israelis in private? No. The Israelis used to do what we wanted, we'd condemn. The only thing the Israelis told us was कि भाई UN Security Council में you can vote out of 100 anti-Israel resolutions, you vote on 99 against us. You don't even have to abstain, vote against us. One or two resolutions we will tell you to vote against, and that you have to vote against. They understand this dynamic very well. Prince Salman has taken very major social reforms in Saudi Arabia. He can go up to a point and not beyond a point. He's learned calibration very, very well. Okay, remember his predecessor to the power 3-4, King Faisal, was killed by his own family members just for opening girls' schools and introducing TV. Okay, slowly, slowly, he needs to gauge. The Emiratis are at a stage of confidence where they can openly support Israel. You will see zero anti-Israel demonstration in UAE. Why is that? Because they realize they've become a completely sort of emancipated society, not politically emancipated, but socially emancipated society. They see where their business interest lies. They understand that they have all the freedoms except political freedoms, which they're very happy with. Ultimately, what do they want? It is a social compact. It's what King Frederick the Great said. I and my people have reached an agreement. They can say what they like, I can do what I like. It's like that. I do all the politics I like as long as it makes you richer. As long as I make you richer, you don't question my policies. That is the social compact in the UAE. That is the social compact he's going to, but it's going to take time. Remember, UAE started 30, 40 years before Saudi Arabia has started. Next.
Many may not know, but India made UAE what it is today by
Yeah,
its stupid high taxation on gold.
yeah.
P Gurus wants to know, congratulations, Abhay Agarwal. Actually, this is his message. Congratulations, Abhay Agarwal, for receiving free membership, and thanks for being active and engaging follower of P Gurus. We have started this new initiative where those of you who are very active on our channel, subscribers, we are giving you free membership for a month. And thank you once again for your support. Next one, please. Abhay Agarwal. Oh, he's thanking us. Thank you. Next one. Thank you, Sharvin Shalke. What should India do to repay the debt to Israel for their help in 1971 and 1999 wars?
Look, there's no such thing as debts, Babu. Okay. In international relations, international relations is very brutal and full of ingratitude. It's just the way it is.
Next one. Santosh Kumar wants to know, Sri sir, what happened to the likes of Illahn Omar and team on this Israel and terror conflict? I think they are wordsmithing to say something like some people did something. We'll wait and see what happens.
And they're hiding. They're hiding.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be forgiven by American Jews. Incidentally, American Jews were the biggest supporters of Rashida Tlaib and Illahn Omar. I think a lot of them now see these two for what they are.
Next one, please. Shivang Bharadwaj, thank you. What should be Indian territorial ambitions across centuries, like French expansion to the Rhine or Russian expansion into Central European plane?
Why should we have territorial ambitions, boss? I think, this notion of territory, it came about because in the olden days, the only way to expand your GDP, there is only a set amount of energy radiated by sun onto the earth, which then gets translated into crops, which then gets translated into money, which then gets translated into wealth. So you need bigger and bigger and bigger places to grow, to acquire wealth. Wealth today is manufacturing, services, etc., resource extraction, whatever. You don't need territorial ambition. The idea of, territorial ambition is actually a liability today. You have more to defend, possibly no returns. You can become, you can have the pride of becoming the second or third biggest country on earth. But do you really want to expand? I would say stop at the Indus simply for defensible borders and Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. But then you create a much bigger headache for yourself. Do you want 160 million more Muslims joining your population? What is going to happen to the Pakistanis, highly radicalized Pakistanis living on this side of the Indus that you'll have to absorb? Your border with China, if you go with Nepal and Bhutan, increases significantly. Your headaches increase. If you annex the whole of Pakistan, you become a neighbor of Afghanistan. Do you really want that? Right now, Afghans are our friends because we share a common enemy. The moment you get Pakistan, the Afghans will become your enemy. So, this mindset is an old mindset. It's a useless mindset. Get rid of it. Next.
Next one, please. Tamil Punga channel wants to know, Sri sir, I have received your first book, Who Painted My Money White? And you ask Abhijit, we also want a list of which character implies whom. That is a secret. You're supposed to find out. And sometimes two characters...
See, what a hypocrite. He wants to know who my characters are, but he won't tell you who his characters are.
Well, it's a book of fiction, right? Some things are made up, some things are true, and it's up to you to separate the grain from the chaff. That is the fun of it, by the way, because I maintain the same set of characters through 4 books of mine in all the Money series books, including Paper In, Money Out. So, next one, please. Deepak Bhatt wants to know, what is the likelihood of this war blowing up into a gangbang of multiple power centers? Should I stop the construction of my house and start saving money for bad times, job loss, etc.?
Not because of this. What you should be worrying about is the collapse of the US economy because of the debt to equity ratio, the lack of production, and basically just insane valuation, unsustainable valuations.
Next one, please. Levi Ackerman, thank you. Can you please elaborate why Hezbollah and Hamas have become enemies? Also, how Hamas got raw material by bypassing Israel water and its intelligence?
Alongside the second part first, through Egypt and through the coastline. There's always been a very sophisticated smuggling network that happens. But Hezbollah and Hamas are not enemies. Hezbollah and Hamas hate each other, but they also cooperate with each other. sometimes minimal, but they cooperate. Uh, but they are not enemies in any sense of the word, and they have completely different zones of interest. Hezbollah's primary interest is Lebanon. They don't get involved in Israel because Israel doesn't have a Shia population. Hamas is in the south and the east of Israel, not in the north, and they have a very different, they are Sunni. So different zones of operation, different ideologies, different. Hamas comes from the Muslim Brotherhood ideology, which is very different from the ISIS ideology. ISIS considers Muslim Brotherhood to be dirty. Okay, they actually think they're dirty. And Hezbollah comes from the Shia ideology, which is completely different. So they don't like each other. They don't get along with each other. But they won't attack each other till they come into friction. Where friction happened was in 2006 when Hamas won the elections, and the Gaza West Bank split happened between Fatah and Hamas, because Hamas is Muslim Brotherhood, but Fatah comes from a sort of pan-Arabist Nasserite kind of movement. Secular-ish. I mean, even secular is a very relative term. It's such a nebulous term anyway. Whereas Hamas comes from a very, very Islamic mindset. Okay, so and you saw what happened. I go to YouTube and run these documentaries of the Fatah Hamas split. It's blood curdling. They killed hundreds, maybe thousands of each other's things when that partition of Palestine happened. And I mean the second partition of Palestine, which is Gaza and the West Bank. Next
question, please. Aviral wants to know. Thank you, Aviral. Seems like Hezbollah has broken through Israel's fences in north. Same paragliders and blowing up fence strategy under Hamas rocket fire. Can you confirm?
I can't, Aviral, because I've been on TV for the last 1 hour and I've been answering your questions now.
Next one, please. Thank you so much, Indik Gal. When will India get rid of its Gaza strips?
What Gaza strips do we have, Indik Gal?
Malda. There is an area near Coimbatore that's like that. There's also Ramanathapuram in deep south. There is a NUH in Haryana. Places like that.
Those aren't our Gaza strips. There's solutions to that, you see, which are very different from Gaza Strip. You shouldn't use politically separate entities like that, because the solutions to these two things are very, very different. I won't use the Gaza Strip analogy for them. They are Muslim ghettos, but they are not. They're intolerant, nasty Muslim ghettos, but they are not Gaza Strip. Gaza Strip implies a lot more than just Muslim ghettos. And the answer to that is industrialization. There is nothing to break up a ghetto better than industrialization. That's what you need. And not like Birmingham or Manchester, where you have Muslim ghettos that form anew because of immigration. You need a public housing policy as well, which is not like Singapore. Singapore works on a quota system. You need to work on a different kind of a quota system that splits up communities. Maintain it as, 82% Hindu, 16% Muslim, 2-3% the rest. And that what it does, like Singapore, but see to it is spread out. It will be very effective. Increase in per capita income, breaking up of ghettos, very, very important. Especially at the lower level. See, the lower level, the blue-collar workers, the jobless blue-collar, the seasonally unemployed, the hidden unemployed, they are the ones that mostly riot. Gainfully employed people do not riot.
Next one, please.
They may think of rioting. They may want to kill you in your sleep. But they will seldom actually kill you in your sleep unless they're really motivated to go become terrorists. Like ISIS. That you can do nothing about.
Vijay Bhai, thank you so much. Can Can we talk about Pak army killing Palestinians under Zia-ul-Haq? It said 20,000 Palestinians were killed.
That's when Zia went to Jordan, no? He served in Jordan. That was the Palestinian uprising. That was called the Black September uprising, I think. I forget
Right,
about
right, right. It is Black September, yes.
it. And he served at the will of the Jordanian king, and he would have presumably be killed a lot of this thing. See, there are no records. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want it coming out in the open, so it's largely been suppressed. Um, a lot of the public literature I find very unconvincing. I find it very unconvincing. So I generally avoid. If you notice, I don't talk much about Black September because there's just too much we don't know. Even if you go to Jordan, people don't want to talk about it for whatever reason. I mean, yeah, okay. If you talk about it in Jordan, the Mukhabarat, which is to say the intelligence will come and pick you up. Outside of Jordan, also, people, when they come out of their uh, dictatorships, generally tend to loosen up their tongues. They still don't. They don't talk about it. So, next.
Next one, please. Om Patel wants to know, how did the British Empire government reign in East India Company? It's REIN, not REIGN.
Okay. They just abolished it. It required, at one point of time, the East India Company controlled the British Empire, not the other way around. Britain was a colony of the East India Company. East India Company was not a company of the British Empire. Quite the other way around. But what happened was it grew so rapine and it got so corrupt, very much like today, where the tech companies in Palo Alto control the government in Washington, are probably worth more on paper valuation games than the government in Washington, apparently have a balance sheet more sound than the government. Again, complete fraud valuation games, are completely rapine and poke their nose into government affairs like Google, YouTube, where we are, and all of them do. And it requires a massive upheaval like the 1857 revolt, which is what I think a system of systems collapse is imminent in the West. And I think that is what will be required to get rid of all valuation game companies, and especially these companies. And that's exactly what happened there. 1857 brought an end to the delusion of the East India Company, and it was abolished.
Next one, please. Ganapati Raju Pecharla, thank you so much. Will Middle East, especially KSA and UAE, turn back to terrorism once they have their own homegrown defense industry? I wish I'm wrong.
No. See, you have to understand this, Ganapati. Once you start focusing on industry and shit, you can't focus on it. Solves a lot of the problems of why you need terrorism. You need terrorism because you have a whole bunch of radicals who are not employed. You can't surveil them, you can't control them, and so you create external things and kick them abroad. As state capacity improves, your police capacity, your intel capacity improves, your ability at social control improves, your surveillance capacity improves, the quality of jobs and gainful employment improves, and so radicalization comes down generally, not always, but generally. So it will actually be the reverse. We should worry about KSA and UAE turning back to terrorism if some major collapse happens that affects the two of them.
Hang on a second. Would you like to extend for a few more minutes, Abhijit? We have a few more questions.
Sure.
Yeah, let's extend for a few more minutes. Thank you, Kartikeya Pant. Won't providing reservation create a class of people who won't let go of the current system? Then how will it go away in the future? How would you design fleet of... No, first this question.
Because you are going on talking about a pizza that is static. More people in the party, you have to cut the pizza into smaller and smaller wedges. If you keep making more and more and more pizzas, the problem goes away. The problem is one of scarcity of educational resources because we don't spend. I've told you this before. We need to spend 600 for our population. We need to spend $600 billion a year on education. We spend about 70 ish, including private sector contribution. It's gone up. We till about a few years back, we were spending only about 20. Now it's apparently about 60. That's what the new figures seem to indicate. I don't know how much of it is real, but it's only a tenth. Once that expenditure and thing happens, you won't need reservation.
Next one, please. Aditya Aryan, thank you. Hi, Abhijit sir. What's your opinion on Catalonia Independence Movement from Spain? No one seems to be talking about it in India.
वो तो मर गया ना. Both the Basque and the Catalan movements are now dead. Ever since they proclaimed their independence and the leader ran away and was thrown in jail by I think he's extradited in a Spanish jail or something for sedition or whatever. After that, even Europe doesn't talk about it anymore. No, kuch nahi hoga.
Yeah. It's gone quiet, yes.
Yeah.
Next one, please. Abhay Agarwal, thank you. Precautions men can take getting into a relationship in India in light of anti-men laws. What long-term sociological impact can it have?
Follow this handle called Voice for Men. It'll tell you everything. I'm not going to get into this because this is almost a PhD topic. It's actually several PhD topics. Record everything. Record everything just for your own safety and don't get married.
Don't get married. Chaitanya Tatle wants to.
कौन पूछता है कि are your parents married? Does anybody even care? You can have a perfect family life without marriage. Just be sure to record everything. You may think everything is hunky-dory and your spouse is madly in love with you till something happens, boss. You go read all those horror stories at Voice for Men, you begin to realize. So don't record everything and don't get married.
Chaitanya Takle wants to know who funds Hamas now.
Qatar. Kuwait as well, but mostly Qatar.
Next one, please. Madhusudan M, thank you so much. Hezbollah role and what may happen to Hezbollah because of their involving in Israel bombing every time.
First, it's Hamas. Hezbollah has never managed to pull off this kind of shit. Okay? The last time they tried something which was just 5 soldiers kidnapped or killed was in 2006. When the entire campaign against Lebanon started and Lebanon was pilloried, and Lebanon turned against Hezbollah. Hassan Nasrallah had to come out and beg for forgiveness. And he said, I made a mistake. They're not going to get involved in it. They've given assurances to the Lebanese government that they won't. There are elements within Hezbollah which have gotten completely enthused. They believe this is Hezbollah. What you're seeing right now is a discipline problem, which you wouldn't have seen maybe 10, 15 years back. Remember, Hezbollah has been decimated by their involvement in the Syrian war. Huge numbers of Hezbollah have died. New recruits have not been trained up, disciplined enough. And the quality of recruitment has fallen quite drastically with Hezbollah because so many of the old seasoned guard are dead because of fighting in Syria. So right now, nothing's going to happen to Hezbollah.
Next one, please. That's all for now. We'll answer all your other questions in a second part. Karthikeyan, last question. We already answered this question. Second part, how would you design fleet of fighter? No, second part we did not.
Simple.
How would you? Yeah, go
base
ahead.
it around an engine. Have one engine. The engine is the key technology. The engine, the jamming, the avionics. And then it's simply a question of high-low, which is, 2 engines, 1 engine, more capacity, more fuel, further range, etc., etc., etc. I would very much go in for that kind of a modular design.
Thank you, Suri Chakravarti. Views on Soviet interference in India politics.
It happened. So who doesn't interfere? Tell me realistically, Surit, who doesn't interfere in other people's politics? Do you think we don't interfere in American politics or Canadian politics? We've been trying for a very long time. We don't succeed. That's a different matter. The Soviets did. What's wrong with that? We tried with China. China still interferes in our politics. We try in China. Of course, in China, there's no politics ever since. We used to try to play these games between all the guanchis. But Xi Jinping has destroyed all those guanchis. No, so that's that. Next.
Next one, please. Thank you, Sharvin Shalke. Hamas knew Israel will respond strongly. Why they attack without any chance of winning?
So, Sharvin, there is this big notion that terrorists think through second, third order consequences. They do not. Musharraf never thought past Kargil.
I was going to talk about Musharraf in 1999. Yeah.
Musharraf never thought past 26/11. It was a brilliant tactical move. Imagine if he had been sorry, I need to get rid of this chingam. If he had been thinking about something major, he would have started a war with Kargil and at the same time simultaneously pulled off Mumbai, Vishakhapatnam, Cochin, Madras, Tuticorin, Malda, all of those ports. And it would have completely paralyzed India. But they didn't. You know why? Because terror organizations, precisely because of the need to maintain security, operational security and silos, do not talk things through. They don't have a system of systems approach that can operate over ground in a defense ministry, in a finance ministry, where everybody will object to everything else. And, those objections are in fact very good. They're very good. So terrorist organizations seldom think things through. I don't think anybody who planned 9/11 thought things through. They thought we needed a big attack. And then what? So there was 9/11, there was 26/11, there was Kargil. There are a lot of these attacks where people don't think things through. I don't think Hamas thought this through. They wanted one big thing and then what? I don't think anybody in Hamas headquarters actually asked, and then what? I don't think they even expected it to succeed the way it did.
Next one, please. Karthik T wants to know, what are the second and third order effects Israelis considered before their response for ongoing barbaric attacks?
I don't know. I'm not privy to those conversations, Karthik. I told you that right at the beginning, right? So I don't know.
Next one, please. Dr. MPC, thank you. As you said last week, there were no mistakes in life, but only learning opportunities. How do you see successes, achievements in life? All Maya?
I believe in Advaita, no? So it is all Maya, ultimately.
Next one, please. Thank you, Adi. Do you think Turkey should be removed from NATO?
Yeah. If NATO ever gets into a war, it'll be because of Turkey. Mark my words. It is the most unpredictable. Turkey, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. These four countries are going to be a headache around NATO's neck, and they do need to. But Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia will never do intemperate things. They will use words. Turkey will do actions. Turkey is a clear and present danger to NATO. If NATO is serious, they should remove Turkey.
Next one, please. Thank you, Parichay Tyagi. The quality of your enemy defines the quality of your armed forces. What is your take on this famous statement?
Yes and no. It's not the quality of your armed forces. It's really the mindset of your armed forces, what they do, how they do it, etc., etc. So, for example, the Egyptian army, everybody talks a lot about Yom Kippur and 67 and 56. The caliber of training and leadership in the Egyptian army never really improved. Uh, Iran, the Imperial Iranian army was extremely very well trained. But Iraq didn't win because of superiority of tactics or anything. They continued to be completely incompetent compared to the Iranians. They just won because of sheer dumb luck, because the Iranian political leadership had pissed off everybody and nobody was willing to supply them. Even the Chinese weren't willing to supply them at the end. They antagonized the Chinese. They protested. You are selling silkworm anti-ship missiles, CSS-2, to us and to the Iraqis. We don't want your shitty missiles anymore. This, when you've gone and pissed off Russia over Afghanistan, and you've pissed off America with the American embassy, you've gone after Jews, who the hell are going to supply you? So
Next
no,
one,
I've
please.
seen a lot of cases where it is actually the country itself that defines its quality and not the caliber of your enemy.
Is Israel this time going to seize the Gaza and go back to pre-2003 times?
Yes.
Guys, I'm going to, from next episode onwards, only the first part of your multi-part question will be asked. It's not fair, in my opinion, because there's so many questions to be answered. And if one person has 4 questions in one comment, kind of is not fair. So one question only from here on, please. Karthik, thank you so much. What are the second and third order effects Israelis consider before their response to barbaric attack? I think we already asked this question. Yeah. Yes. I agree. Our editor Sachin is getting a little tired. Poor guy. Manikanta wants to know: do you think Israel let it?
Question. So let's finish it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manikanta wants to know: do you?
No, Manikanta. No, I don't.
There are some talks about
things. Yeah. No, it doesn't. It's America I really don't think you should go down this. These are these lunatic theories. America did 26/11 with Israel. Israel let it happen. No. Next.
Thank you, Dominic. The anti-Israel, Hindu, etc. narrative trope is commonly understood to be peddled by the same junta. Is it ideological idiocy or just corruption?
It's ideological duplicity. It's very financially profitable ideological connection, corruption, because it's called being part of the conversation. Somebody decides what the conversation is going to be. Newspapers and universities promote it, and funding and advertising comes to it. And you have to be part of the conversation. That's how it works. Okay, it is fundamental ideological corruption. Next
one, please. Buffed Arsenal, thank you so much. Why did Israel ignore warnings from Egyptian intelligence about the Hamas attack?
We don't know what the Egyptian intel was. The Prime Minister's office has denied it completely. Some news channels have said, no, it happened. But remember, Israeli news channels are like Indian news channels. They'll say, oh, did it really not happen? Maybe it did happen. So, remember that.
Thank you, Vasudevan Srinivasan. Thank you, Ramesh Palani. Steel Plant Baba, this is the last question, please. Where do you see the world going? Would we evolve into 2 warring groups, pro-survivors and pro-extinctioners?
No, we just continue like normal. Kuch change nahi hone wala hai.
Thank you, Advait. This is really the last question. Sorry, Abhijit, I know you're getting a little tired. Is patriarchy natural?
I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
Because we may have a few more questions, because we thought we'll stop at 1:15. Okay, another minute.
Yeah.
Is patriarchy...
Let's just continue till 1:30 and finish off everything, boss.
Okay, fine. Let's do that. Is patriarchy natural? Your views on Smash the Patriarchy.
Human civilization is because of patriarchy. Everything we are today is thanks to female liberation is because of patriarchy. Do you understand this? understand the only real difference other than the genitalia between a man and a woman is man's physical strength over women. Before the application of chemical energy to the production process, that is what made men dominant and monopolize resources. Okay, it was patriarchy that led to the Stone Age. It was patriarchy that led then to the Chalcolithic Age, and then which is to say copper, and then to the Bronze Age. It was sheer physical strength. Women could not do all this sailing, sailing, war fighting, etc., etc. Their bodies were made for it. Okay, and it is the patriarchy that led to the creation. It is that violent, psychotic patriarchy that led to the creation of the first states, which then became kingdoms, which then became empires, which then became the wars of religion, which then became the wars of uh, uh, the wars of religion ultimately led to the Enlightenment, which led to the Industrial Revolution, a bit more complex, all pioneered by men. And it was the Industrial Revolution, the application of chemical energy to the production process, that negated the one big advantage that a man has over a woman, which is physical strength. Because a woman can press a button and move a crane or a truck or a bulldozer just as effectively as a man can. Okay, it evens out everything. So then this thing shifts to the brain. So the women's liberation is a gift of the patriarchy to the woman. So smash patriarchy is regressive. We should celebrate patriarchy. The more patriarchal the man, I think we should go back to the time where everybody, every liberated girl drinks pati ka charanamrit. It is very crucial. God bless patriarchy. Patriarchy zindabad.
Next question, please. Suri Chakravarti, thank you so much. Views on Ayn Rand. What is your favorite food?
She's very simplistic, but she's very good. She's very good at breaking down complex ideas into simplistic narratives. And
Atlas
very
shrugged.
addictive. Yeah. And my favorite food in terms of cuisine, or just generally, it keeps changing every day, every month, or whatever. But I would say my all-time go-to comfort food is always rasam shadam, which is rasam and rice mashed up with rasam, mostly tomato rasam.
With curry leaves and coriander on it. Coriander leaves.
With ghee ka tadka.
With ghee ka tadka, yes. Pikachu man, thank you so much. Supposedly, if there was an external guy to go to Gaza to help Hamas, can the IDF find it out?
Pikachu, I'm not going to comment on this till I know about it. Okay. So, yeah.
Denver Johnson, thank you. Is it high time the West sanctions Qatar?
We've already discussed Qatar, no, Denver. The West is going to do diddly squat. I think Pakistan should have also been dealt with. They did not. Qatar should have been dealt with long back. They did not. Qatar will get away with murder. You don't worry about that.
Kuna Pudur, thank you. Are you fluent in Malayalam?
That is the last. Who? You or me?
You.
No. I can understand it perfectly fine. No problem. I can't speak it.
It's 80% Sanskritam. Yeah.
It's Sanskrit Tamil mixed kind of thing. So it's quite easy to understand, really. I don't have an issue. I have an issue understanding Kannada and Telugu. I don't have an issue understanding Malayalam.
Thank you so much, Abhijit. And we will be back with you next Wednesday, if not sooner. And thanks once again for all your support. We are now through the 4 lakh barrier of subscribers. We are marching towards 5 lakh. And we want to be going to 10 lakhs. And then Abhijit will call and say, can I come on your channel, please? Right now, it's the other way around.
You dead named me. My name is Rabbi Shmueli Schlampenberg.
No, I was talking about Abhijit. I didn't talk about you. I didn't say it was you.
Okay.
All right, then. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Ta-ta.